So find a comfortable position on your back. That might be with your legs stretched out long, or it might be with your knees bent, so and the knees resting together. And wherever you are, you can do a little movement in this part, but I want you to just drop into the support of the earth and take some breath, maybe 10 to 12 rounds of breath, emphasizing the exhale being just a little bit longer. It might be helpful to place your hands on your belly. Feel the inhale as you fill your belly, and the belly expands, and then the breath moves up into your lower ribs, upper ribs, even into the collarbones. And then exhale in the same reverse reverse direction. So out of the chest, belly empties, and you might even draw slightly your navel up and in at the end. And then if you do not have your knees bent, go ahead and bend your knees. Take the soles of your feet to the floor. Arms could be out to the side, and continue this breathing pattern, but allow your knees to rock back and forth softly. Inhaling the knees up to center and exhaling the knees to one side. And keep extending the exhale. One of the things I've been very aware of in the last weeks and months is that the more things speed up for me, the more urgency I feel, the more anxiety I feel. And slowing things down, taking a pause, even before I get out of bed, I take that pause so that I can keep a balance and stay away from being in the sympathetic fight or flight all the time. That is what fatigues us, friends. We're just not meant to stay in that mode all the time. And then the next time you have your knees up to the ceiling, just go ahead and straighten out your legs. Take your legs nice and wide, arms up and out wide. So you're making the shape of an X here. And then just reaching through one heel and relaxing, and then reaching through the other heel and relaxing. You'll feel a little tug in the hips and the pelvis. At some point, you can add same arm or opposite arm. Just allow your body to inform you here about what might feel nice, feel like an opening, or relaxing. And match your movement with your breath. And then bring your legs together, pull your toes back towards your shins, just about 30% effort here, no more today. And reaching through one heel, reach the other arm up and over your head like you're being pulled apart, really opening the space in your side waist, your ribs, and then release. Press through the opposite heel and reach opposite arm long. And that's the pattern, really opening through side waist, ribs, underarm, side of the hips. Inhaling, you could inhale to stretch and exhale to hold. And then another inhale and exhale to release. Once you've done an even number, bring your arms out to the T position, bend your knees again, and set the soles of your feet onto the floor. And then just draw your knees over your hips, bending, reaching the lower legs parallel to the earth and one another, and just softly move through your knees. So making some circles with your knees. If it's at all fatiguing for you, just take your hands to your knees and the hands can kind of help the movement. You'll feel your back, low back pressing into the floor as you bring your knees in close. And you could take an inhale on one circle and an exhale on the next. Or an inhale as you draw the knees away. Exhale as you draw the knees in. And then reverse the direction of your circling. And then come to center, stacking knees over your hips. Drop your knees to the right and let your whole body roll over to your right side. Left hand reaches over and rests on the right hand. And then slide your left hand across your chest, opening up into a twist. And then make a big, keep the back of your left hand on the floor as you sweep your left hand up and over your head and come back to left hand on top of right hand. Draw your left hand across your chest, reaching your left hand long, the back of your hand to the floor. Your knees are still to the right, and then sweep the back of your hand along the floor and come back to matching your hands together and just continue that little pattern. So it's you're just sweeping the left arm over and then up above your head. And you can go at a speed that works for you, but see if you can extend the exhale. The next time your left hand is out to the side, just stay in the twist here. Take a few rounds of breath. Scoop your belly to the left. So just a little engagement in the belly. You could take your right hand to the top of your left leg for a little more traction there in the outer left hip. Extend the exhale. And then with both arms on the floor, press into your forearms, lift the top leg up, come back to center, and just take your hands to the front of your shins and just do a few cat-cows. So inhaling, draw the low back away from the floor, pubic bone away from navel, and exhale, round your back into the floor, pull your knees in towards your chest, just neutralizing through your spine and pelvis. And then open up your arms again, stack your knees over your hips, and let your knees come over to the left. Right hand comes over on top of the left hand. Slide your right hand up your arm, across your chest, opening into a twist. And then slide the back of your right hand, make a big kind of snow angel above your head. Your hand will come off the ground as you reach for the left hand again. And that's the little movement here, just opening through the chest, the right shoulder, sweeping across your chest, back of the hand to the floor. And again, see if you can extend the exhale. And it doesn't matter so much on some of these movements when the inhale happens and when the exhale happens. Let your body naturally inform you. Right arm stays open now. You're in the twist. And then just a little engagement in your core, sort of tugging your core over to the right, like you're trying to aim your belly button towards the ceiling. Again, left hand could come to the top of the right thigh, putting a little traction on the right hip, or you can stay with arms open in the T. Just relax here. Let the exhale be a little longer than the inhale. And then pressing into your forearms, lift top leg up, come back to center. And once again, just a few rounds of like a mini cat-cow to neutralize. Once we come back to symmetry, you want to neutralize the pelvis, low back. Good. And then you can take the soles of your feet to the floor, grab your strap. And we'll take the right foot, sole the right foot into the strap here. And just with both hands on the strap, just pull down, elbows bent, just feel a little bit of work in the biceps. Press the sole of your foot into the strap. You can have the left knee bent and just feel for an even opening behind at the back of the knee. So you have these really ropey cartilage and tendons and whatnot behind the knee. Feel like you're opening both sides equally as you press your leg away. Again, allow the exhale to be a little bit longer. We're all feeling pretty wound up, and we feel that relief, and we'd also like to have that, enjoy that for a while. Joy, Brene Brown talks about how we postpone joy because we're waiting for the other shoe to fall. We know we have work to do, but let's embrace a little relief and a little joy here. And then take the strap, both sides of the strap in your right hand, and just open your right leg out to the right. You could rest on your right elbow. Try to keep the left hip down here, left side of your hip down, and maybe you can come all the way to the floor with your right leg. Some of us will be able to do that. If not, that's fine. Just feel for an opening in the right inner leg. If you can get pretty close to the floor, something that feels really nice to me is sort of tugging on the strap and bringing my right foot up towards, so I get a little swing in my leg. So I bring my right foot up towards my right shoulder a bit. Extend the exhale. Especially if you're able to really get your leg all the way down to the floor. Can you really feel for letting go and letting the exhale be a little bit longer than the inhale? And then on your next inhale, bring your right leg back up to center. Take the belt in the left hand and bring your right leg across all the way into another big twist. Left leg could be straight here or have a bend in that knee. And then really draw your right side of your waist down towards the floor, right? So you're drawing your belly button up towards the ceiling. So you're really getting a good twist all the way through your back. And then inhale the right leg back up to center and take both feet in the strap. Hands on either side of the strap, press through both feet. And breathe into this. You might even do a little bit of pelvic tilting here just to neutralize in your pelvis. And then we'll slip the right foot out, leave the left in. Same thing, press through your foot into the strap. You could take a look at your foot here, make sure the big toe side is pulling back and the pinky toe pulling back equally. So you don't have your foot turned out or in, but there's a nice even pressing. And then feel for the back of your knee, inside and outside, pressing equally, opening up through the back of the leg. Right foot can be on the floor, right knee bent, or you might have the right leg long. You decide. And then take both sides of the strap in your left hand, open up to the left, any amount that allows you to keep the pelvis really connected, both sides of the pelvis. Right side of the pelvis still stays on the floor. So you're not lifting the right side of the pelvis up. See if you can keep that steady. And that might mean that you're at about, 45 degrees or so. It's all good. And if you can come all the way to the floor, you can really allow the exhale to extend. This is a big stretch for the inner thigh. Inhale, left leg up, take the belt in your right hand and come into another big twist here. So left leg comes over to the right, and you're really trying to scoop the belly button to the left so that it won't, like it's an eye looking up at the ceiling. Can you let your left shoulder relax down to the floor? Inhale to reach the left leg back up to the ceiling. Release the belt here and just take both the soles of both feet to the floor and just a few cat cows. You can press into your thighs. Inhale, draw your pubic bone away from your navel. And exhale, draw your pubic bone back towards your navel. Just a little mini cat cow. Extend the exhale. Okay, and then from here, we're just going to roll to one side, and you're going to just rest your head in your hand. This is it. This is the pose. We're opening the underside, the side that's closest to the floor, just really allowing the side waist to open. And if this feels okay for you, you can press into the other hand and come up onto your forearm. It might not feel like a very dynamic pose, but we tend to get really sticky in the ribs. When we hold our breath, we get sticky in the ribs. So really letting this whole side body expand, open up a little kind of passively because we're just pressing into the floor. And then we'll turn over or swing over and do the other side. And either you can just go for holding your head with your hand and your elbow bent. If you do that, make sure your elbow is lined up sort of parallel with your body and not forward or backwards. Or you could press into your forearm, sort of the posing pose. Really our yoga practice is always there's always something for me that's like, oh, this is a microcosm of the world. And our yoga asana in particular should give us some diversity in our movement. So if you're somebody like me who goes pretty hard, this is really the kind of practice I should be doing all the time. I don't, because I'm drawn to the fiercer, harder stuff. But this is really the antidote for me to my other activities in my life, which tend to be kind of fierce. It's taken me a long time to learn that. And from here, you can press up now. And let's come to, if it works for you, let's come to Virasana, hero's pose, on a block. So you'll have your block in the long style, billboard style, and then you can put that right between your ankles and rest your sit bones on it. If this does not work for you, you could go to Sukhasana, easy seat. And with your hands then just resting on your thighs, just do a couple of cat cows. So inhale to reach and open the chest, get an arch in your back, and on your exhale, sort of slide your hands down towards your knees, round in. Inhale, the elbows slide into the back body, open the chest, lift the gaze, and exhale, let your hands slide forward and round into cat. And once again, see if you can extend the exhale just a little bit longer than the inhale. And we'll come to neutral now. Take your left ear towards your left shoulder. Drop your chin through center, and then right ear, ooh, towards right shoulder. I get a pretty big kink when I do that. So see if you can smooth that out a little bit as you move back and forth from one shoulder to the other. You might have to really elongate, get some good length in the back of your neck to do this. Good. And then the next time that your left ear is reaching, or your left ear is reaching towards your left shoulder, drop your chin to your chest and look at your right thigh. Now tuck your left arm behind so your forearm is resting on your low back. And continue to breathe. Release. Take your opposite hand to just bring your head back up to center. Ooh, right. And then roll your shoulders. Now drop your right ear towards your right shoulder. Bring your chin in towards your chest a bit and look at your left thigh, left hand. That might be where you need to stay, but you could play with now bringing the right forearm and resting it on your low back and see how that changes the stretch. Keep breathing. And release your right hand and let your right hand just slowly bring your head back up to center. Good. Rolling through your shoulders here, up, down, and back, or taking your fingers to your shoulders and elbows around in some circles. And take the elbows in the opposite circle. Good, and then you'll take your strap again and just bring your strap now up over your head and back behind your head and forward and down in front of you. Just, we call this shoulder flossing. So you might have to have your strap pretty wide. Feel into it. Should not be painful, but you definitely will have some sensation, and you can move through some sort of variations with this. So you could bring one hand behind, other hand in front. Good. And then we'll set the strap over to the side momentarily. And then inhale your arms up to center. Take a gaze at your hands and drop your hands through to heart center. And do this a few times. And maybe a little image for you is as you drop your hands into the heart center, can you let your mind drop into your heart? We need a little bit more heart right now. Let your mind drop into your heart. Next time your hands are up, reach up, take your twist to the left and bring your right hand to the outside of your left leg. Left hand comes behind your body like a kickstand. Extending the exhale, just 2 more breaths. And then inhale, sweep arms up. And exhale, opposite direction. Left hand to the outside of the right thigh, right hand behind you, like a little kickstand. And 2 full breaths here, extending the exhale. And then come back to center, and we're going to make our way to our knees and forearms. Knees and forearms. So you'll be in sort of a puppy pose right here, and just some cat cows here. So inhaling, and bringing the chest forward, the gaze just to the end of your mat. So don't overdo the neck flexion. Widen the tail feathers and then press into your forearms around your back. Drop your chin in towards your chest. And again, lengthen the exhale. And then you can stay on your forearms or press up to your hands. But now as you do this, the cat cows, just really draw the hips back on the exhale and sort of round over to one side on the inhale and exhale. Bring your hips back. So there's this movement, circular pattern, and you're really coming all the way outside the long edge of your mat. The inhale will take you forward, and the exhale will bring you back. And then opposite direction. Ooh, got some creaking and cracking going on here in this body. Good, and then we'll back, next time you're back in center, slide all the way forward onto your belly. Rest your forehead on your hands, so the back of your hands make a little pillow here. And then bending your knees, just let your feet go back and forth, side to side. And then back to center. Take your feet around in circles. Circling the feet both directions. So now just come back to center and rest your legs long on the mat. Inhale just to press into your forearms and lift slightly. And exhale, release. And just repeat that a few times, just a really baby back bend. Now, can you slow it down? Really slow it down. So inhale to a 4 count and exhale 6 count. You can upstroke the navel at the end of your exhale. And let's do 4 more, just like that. And then you'll bring your arms, after the last one, you're gonna bring your arms above your head. Rest your forehead on the floor. Lift your left leg up and start to bring it across your midline until you just roll open and come to your back. And then lift the left leg up, bring it across midline until you just roll back onto your mat. And then try the other direction. So lift your right leg up, bring it across midline until you just roll open. Lift the right leg up, across midline, and just roll back to your tummy. And let's try it one more time on each side. So lift the left leg across your midline and just allow yourself to spiral open. First side. Take your time. Don't force it. Right leg up and over. Spiral open. Right leg up, across midline. Spiral back to your belly. And then take your hands underneath your shoulders or near your low ribs and just press yourself up to your knees. You could rest here on your knees or sitting on your heels. Okay, this is where a couple blocks would be handy if you have them, to the front of your mat. And we'll come up onto our knees and bring the right foot forward and hands to the block on either side of the right foot. If you don't have the blocks, you go to your fingertips. We'll just move back and forth in the hips here. And if you feel that urgency, like I am actually feeling a little bit right now, slow it down. Just slow it down. One of the more delightful things I've listened to in the last few days was actually an interview with a chef from Chicago. This was on NPR a few days ago. And, the interviewer was asking him about restaurant business and how things have been affected. And they were having this long discussion actually about macaroni and cheese. You can switch legs, bring the other leg forward, and move through your hips. And it was a pretty funny discussion about, he really doesn't like mac and cheese, and the interviewer loved mac and cheese, I think. But at the end, she said, "Well, what do you think is the future for you?" And he said, I don't know, but I had this conversation with you today. We laughed. We didn't talk about politics or the coronavirus. We talked about mac and cheese. And that's a gift, right? Just to be present and to not have so much urgency about what we want to happen. Now, with the second foot forward, if you have your blocks, you'll need to remove them. And you're going to heel toe your foot across the mat and tuck your heel in towards your midline and slide your back leg out. So you're in the sort of the upright pigeon position, but we're not really going into pigeon. I want you to just rock back and forth. So you rock onto your hip, front hip, and then rock off that hip. So you're just sort of moving in this really rhythmic pattern. And if this bothers your knees, you could just go to your back and do a figure 4 here. But it's more about this rhythm and this just movement. One thing we know from the animal world is that when after animals are, they sense that the danger is over, right? One of the ways that they get out of fight or flight mode is they shake their bodies. And so we might do a little shaking here at the end, but this is my shaking right now, just rocking through my hips. And then I'm gonna rest on that front hip, come over and rest on that front hip, swing the back leg around and stack my ankle on that front knee, and then open up this other hip. So this position, if this position doesn't work for you, maybe you have your foot in a little closer. Some of you might even be able to slide the bottom foot out and get a little more sensation in the hips. And really extend that exhale. And then bring your hands behind your back so that you can come into a little bit more ease in undoing the legs. And now the opposite leg will come in front folded. And I'm just going to slide on my mat here to get myself in position. So front leg is bent, and my heel is up near my groin, my pubic bone. And then I'm just rocking back and forth, hands in front of me. I'll rock onto the front hip, over to my right, and then I rock more onto the shin. So I'm just doing this little movement in my hips. And again, if this didn't work in your body because you had an artificial knee or you just had a lot of pain in your knee, go to your back and take that front leg and cross it over the bottom foot. The bottom foot would be planted on the floor, right? Just go to a figure 4 and do a hip stretch there. And then the next time you come and land on your outer hip, swing the back leg around and take that ankle and rest it on the front knee. There's the position. Oh, maybe you might even be able to fold into that a little bit. Can you just be with this and let the exhale soothe you? So exhale longer than inhale. And then walk your hands back up and bring your hands behind your back so that you can easily undo uh, yourself there. And then just come to a seat. We'll come into Dandasana. So you might have a blanket underneath your hips to prop your hips up, but we'll tilt the pelvis forward here. And inhale and just exhale, kind of fold. Engage the hamstrings by pressing the heels into the floor, isometrically drawing them back. And then from here, we're going to slide down to the floor. You can take your hands behind your thighs to come down to the floor. If you have a strap, you're going to take your strap, and I have to have my strap for this next thing, almost to the very end. Depending on the height of your body, your strap may or may not work. Height plus flexibility in your hamstrings. So the strap is going to go, I'm going to take the strap and I'm going to put it in my left foot. I want the buckle on my right side. And then I'm going to bend that knee, and I'm going to take the strap right behind the back of my head, above my ears. And depending again on the shape of your head, you might have to play with this a little bit. But your head is going to rest in the strap, and you're going to push a little bit into your foot and create this traction for the back of your neck. My teacher showed me this. I love this. I have a lot of issues in my neck, and probably from a lot of snowboard crashing and other things like that. And I bought a very fancy neck hammock a few years back. Little did I know I could neck hammock with this. So you want to have your head just a few inches off the floor. So I just lowered my head a bit. So looking for neck length in the back of the neck. You might have to play with the buckle. And again, I mean, this is not requiring for me too much hamstring flexibility. Of course, if you were taller than me, you might have your leg might not be as far away from your body. So it may not work, but play around with it, because you might have to have your leg in a little closer. And then see if on the exhale you can really let yourself drop. To come to the other side, I'm just going to take my hands behind my head, give myself a little support, slip the opposite foot in there, and set myself up, give myself the right amount of tension, find the right spot, the back of my head. The belt is above my ears, and I just have to find, because I have a very small head, and I have to get the belt right in the right place in the back, so it doesn't slip down onto to the back of my occipitals. Right in the center of the head works best for me. And then I put a little tension in my foot, and allow my head to rest in the belt. Again, 2 or 3 inches off the floor, and then let everything go. You should not feel any strain in your neck. If you do, uh, just cease and desist and we can talk about it offline. And then to come out, you can support your back of your head with your hand or come out, come to the floor, bend your knee, come to the floor, but come out of the strap now. Take your legs long, cover up with a blanket if it's a little chilly in your room, and allow yourself to come into final Shavasana. And once again, if you can really allow the exhale to be longer than the inhale for a few breaths. Enjoy this sense of dropping in, having some relief. Soften your ears. Soften the muscles around your eyes, particularly between the brow. Soften your hands. You can stay in Shavasana as long as you like. Rest your hands on your heart space and give yourself an internal namaste, a recognizing of your own brilliance and gratefulness for showing up for practice today. Thank you all for being a part of this community and the love and support that you give to each other, to all of us. I am grateful. And may the merit of our practice encourage all beings to unveil the hidden brilliance that lies within that stardust we are made of. Namaste.